Our executives have decided to establish a working group called Workshop Excellence, PrimeServ Northern Europe. Our job is to ensure higher efficiency in the workshops of the Northern European locations, for example Hamburg, Benelux, Metterloch, Denmark, Colchester, Oberhausen, and here in Frederikshavn. Our targets concerning efficiency include productivity, how efficient are we, indirect costs, on-time delivery, how good are we at delivering on time, scrap and revert, and 5S, which is what I'd like to talk about today. 5S is a tool we all use because we want a clean and safe working environment. The first S stands for sorting. We throw away anything that doesn't need to be in the area. At the same time, this creates a safer working environment in the workshops. We systematize things. We standardize the cleaning and make sure that it's done every day. That also reduces the danger of accidents. We standardize the processes so that we can do things the same way every time. We learn from each other. We roll the wheel, plan, do, check, act all the time to create continuous improvements. And we have self-discipline. That's the last S. Another thing we've worked with is that we all aim at being number one. We want to be the best in the world. In 5S, we measure how good are we at cleaning up the workshops, how good are we at running standardized processes. We measure our productivity. We measure how good we are at delivering to warehouse on time, at the agreed time, without delays. If we don't deliver, we learn from our mistakes. Did we order the parts in time? Did we make the right forecasts? We benchmark this against our colleagues in Northern Europe to find out how good we are at this. In the long term, the idea is that all workshops in the entire worldwide organization are going to learn this. And one thing's for sure, this has come to stay. But why is it really important to establish 5S? It's safety, it's better working environments, it's control, it's standardized processes. What does cleaning up this workshop and keeping it tidy mean to you? It means that we can find our spare parts and tools, and it's meant that the process of making our engine is easier. Of course, it's been a continuous process, and some of it we already knew. A lot of it's really common sense. We clean up after ourselves. We've been on an EUC North course, which has made it easier to carry out together. Has 5S made it easier for you to do your job? Yes, it has. You know which way to go. You don't have to go looking for things. If you compare this workshop before 5S with now, what's been the most significant change for you? It's been standardized. We've cleaned it up. We've sorted things and thrown the things we don't need away. We only have what we need now. We have an overview of everything now. Crates are labeled, and we can just look at them to know what's in them. So we can just go get what we need. That saves time, and in the end, that's also a benefit for the people who work here. What's the most difficult thing about working with 5S? It's the self-discipline. We need to remind ourselves every day. The workshop needs cleaning out every day. We can't leave things to chance. Then it will go back to looking as it did a few years ago, and we don't want to go back to that. So it's positive, and we're all playing along. What makes this workshop so efficient? The facilities and machines make it possible for us to make practically anything that has to do with pipes, so we're almost able to deliver any kind of pipe. What does 5S have to do with the way you work? Everything is tidy. All tools and machines are at their designated place in the workshop. They're always returned to their place after use. This means that we're always able to find what we need. So what would you say is the greatest challenge with 5S? The tidiness, always returning things after use, so that we always know what we have and where it is. What has the 5S process done for this workshop? Well, everything's been made clearer. We have an overview now, and we have fewer things around us which we could do without. The result then was 300 kilos of excess tools that were not used. And you mentioned something about oil cans. Yes, after we cleaned everything out, we actually found 12 excess oil cans with the same content, which we could reduce to 2. What has 5S meant to the working environment in this workshop? It's meant a simplification of the working procedures. For example, we've removed all unnecessary tools. We only have tools we actually need for the production here. After that, we went through all spare parts, and those not relevant or no longer used, we cleared out because there's no advantage in keeping something we're not going to use. Then we've got extra lighting in the workshop. It's very important for the work that we do that we have lots of light. And generally, we clean up. Since it's a workshop and not an operating room, not all things shine. But when customers come here, we want them to get a feeling of us having things perfectly under control and the workshop nice and clean. But of course, it's a workshop and always will be. So what does this tidiness mean to you in your work? It means that we minimize the risk of errors. In this small department of just my colleague and myself, we don't have room for errors. If we do something wrong here, a ship somewhere around the world will end up not sailing or suffering delays. What will be the most difficult thing in the future regarding 5S? It's not so difficult when we're only 2 people in this workshop, but we need to maintain the things that we've seen benefit our production. This is not just a one-off event. It needs to be maintained. So you need to be careful with what you're doing and in sorting the things that are to be thrown away.